hectic week. Oof. I genuinely had hoped that I don't know, man. I genuinely had hoped that I would have done this a little bit a while ago, and I didn't. Um, my bad. This has been a very crazy week for me. Anyway, let's get to the breakdown. Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi. I don't even know why I started with this fight because it's supposed to be for tomorrow, but we're here now. Alma Logoria. Yo, what's up? What up, man? Welcome to the stream, my guy. I've been. I didn't actually schedule the stream as I was supposed to. Shout out to you for joining the stream. Anyway, let's get to the breakdown. First of all, I'm still. You know what? They are still very new in the UFC, so okay, maybe new is a strong word. Okay, it's actually an accurate word, but let me go through their recent fights before I actually break down the fight. Algoridia. How was your day? My day was crazy, man. Um, I work at a law firm, so uh, I've been busy drafting, and yeah, it hurt my brain. But still, we're back. We're back. How was your day, by the way? Shout out, thank you for asking. So Elijah Smith has only had one fight in the UFC against what's his name? Vince Morales. Yes, he's only had one fight in the UFC against Vince Morales. And the Toshiomi Kazama, I think he's had like 2 or 3 fights in the UFC. Let me actually check specifically. Um, Aileen Rodriguez, blessing in the name of Jesus from Florida prison. We watch UFC every week, bro. Chimaev Rodriguez. Are you serious? Alain Rodriguez. Are you serious? Are you watching from prison? You guys are having fun. How are you watching? How do you? So in prison you have access to cell phones in Florida, and Florida is. Um, Elaine Rodriguez, a civil law criminal. We mostly do criminal and family law. Um, Almaro Logoria, my day was good. Shout out to you, man. Gianto, God bless Diddy. um, Rodriguez, yes, bro. Nah, I think you're playing with me, man. Um, Alma Logoria, I'm watching Sun, uh, from the sun. Trust me. Rodriguez, we mean no harm. Yes, the cops sell it to us. Claudia, well, the moment you started saying that, I stopped believing you. But shout out to you. Thank you for joining the stream. So, what do you call him? Toshiomi Kazama. What do you call him? Elijah Smith has only had one fight in the UFC, and it went to a decision against Vince Morales. Toshiomi Kazama has had 3 fights in the UFC, lost via TKO to Rinya Nakamura. No shame in that. Lost to Garrett Umfield. Am I correct? Yes, he lost to Garrett Umfield, and then he won his first fight against what's his name? Charalampos Grigoriou. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name properly. Um, I genuinely thought Charalampos would actually get that one done, but I'm purely because of the level of competition both of them have been fighting. I mean, obviously, I'm going to lean towards Elijah Smith. I mean, a win over Vince Morales is more impressive than beating like some dude who's coming in, who's debuting. I think Gregorio was debuting. So purely because of experience, I will give the experience advantage to Elijah Smith. I think his win over Vince Morales is more impressive. As far as reach, Elijah Smith is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Not too massive, but it might play a factor into how this fight plays out. Now, when it comes to finishing ability, Toshiomi has a high finishing ability, despite the fact that It's predominantly outside the UFC, so I don't know how much weight I'm going to put into that. Toshiomi has an 82. Is it 82? Yeah, an 82% finishing rate, which is pretty decent. But when you consider the fact that the guy has had 3 fights in the UFC and has only here, for some reason YouTube likes to kick me out of my own streams, and I have to come back into the streams. Um, so I'm going to respond to everyone once I'm done breaking down this particular fight. But man, YouTube infuriates me sometimes. So they just kicked me out, and I had to come back into the stream again, which is something that regularly happens. I don't know why they're not fixing that. Anyway, Elijah Smith is not good at finishing fights. I mean, his debuting fight against Vince Morales went to a decision. I mean, that's no shame in that. I mean, like I said, I feel like the win over Vince Morales is more valuable than beating Gregorio Charalampos for Toshiomi Kazama. Even though he looked good in that particular fight, I still felt like Elijah Smith's win over Vince Morales is more impressive in my opinion, even though it was a decision and not a finish, right? And even though Toshiomi has a high finishing rate at 82%, predominantly it's outside the UFC. He's only had one finish in the UFC. He is actually 1-2 inside the UFC in his last 3 fights. So I mean, I'm not going to put too much stock into that finishing ability of his. Elijah Smith has a 63% finishing rate, not pretty high, so it is what it is. As far as output, I feel like Elijah Smith is going to have a massive advantage. I think he's going to be a little bit more active than Toshiomi. Defensively, I feel like both of them are pretty decent defensively. I think they will be more or less evenly matched. So I think the reach combined with the output for Elijah Smith will play a significant role as far as how the striking exchanges go. Um, and defensively, I feel like both of them are more or less on the same level. So I think the difference maker is going to be the volume because I think Elijah Smith throws a little bit more, not a little bit more, like significantly more than Toshiomi. So I think that's going to be the difference maker as far as the striking exchanges. And then as far as the grappling goes, uh, I think Elijah Smith. I think I'm going to give him a bit of an advantage offensively. Elijah Smith is significantly better, I think, at the very least, based on what I've seen. He just that defensively, both of them are not particularly great, but offensively, I'm leaning towards Elijah Smith. I think is going to be better, and if both of them are not particularly great defensively, I'm going to give the advantage to the guy who has the offensive advantage, which is Elijah Smith. So in conclusion, um, Elijah Smith on the feet, I think he's going to be a little bit better because defensively both of them are more or less on the same level. So I'm not going to count that. Offensively, Elijah Smith has more output. He's going to be throwing a little bit more. Not a why do I keep saying a little bit more? He's going to be throwing significantly more than Toshiomi, and he has a 2 inch reach advantage. So it's going to play into how this fight plays out, especially on the feet. On the ground, both of them are not good defensively. They're they're average. I'm not going to say good. They're average defensively. Offensively, I think what do you call him? Elijah Smith is significantly better. Even though obviously Toshiomi has some grappling, I think offensively Elijah Smith is going to be better. So yeah, on the ground, I still think Elijah Smith is going to win. On the feet, I think Elijah Smith is going to win. Obviously, Toshiomi Kazama has that finishing ability, but it hasn't translated that well in the UFC except against like a debuting prospect in Charalambo's Grigori. I don't even was he a debuting prospect? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me actually just that I don't recognize his name. Let me actually check. By the way, guys, I started watching MMA full time in 2019. So forgive my. Let me see. Where's Charalampo's? Is this Charalampo's? Okay, I was wrong. Charalambos has never won a fight in the UFC. It wasn't his debuting fight. Charalambos lost to Chad and Heliga, and then lost to what do you call him? Toshiomi Kazama. So yeah, I was wrong. But still, I mean, he has two fights, so I mean, I was wrong by one fight. Nonetheless, I don't know, man. Like that's not a good win. Like he has a win over a guy who doesn't have a win in the UFC. So at least Vince Morales is somewhat of a veteran um, in the UFC. So let me respond to comments so I can bounce. Um, Let me see. Um, Rodriguez, we may know him. Oh, wow, Ven, you believe that I was charged with I'm the kid or aggravated battery, totally illegal sentencing, or you tell me kidnapping or aggravated? Well, dude, like you fantasize about being a criminal. Like you don't, you sound like a kid who is fantasizing about prison. That's kind of crazy. You don't sound like someone who's in prison. Joshua McGee Smith is the truth. After the breakdown, I'm inclined to actually agree with you, my guy. Rodriguez, it doesn't matter. God bless everyone in the name of the Lord. Okay. Gun. You guys and your racist jokes. It's no. He's selling drugs and has a gun. Call the cops. Wow. He's moving body parts in the bags, and he's a monster. He's not to be trusted. He's the merchant of death. Okay. Dude, are you having episodes on the stream? Go take your pills, dude. Like, you're doing crazy things here. Connor, Paul Craig is the greatest of all time. Wow. Uh, That's a joke. Um, what's good, man? Um, as long as you can call that to your mom, then we're cool. You can call me that. Maximo Gonzalez, hola amigo. What up, man? Saludades, there's Argentina. Okay. I can't necessarily read Spanish, but I think that's pretty easy to read. You are actually greeting from Argentina, so shout out to you. I'm from South Africa. Um, Argentina UFC Wacho Aguent. I'm not sure what that means. I assume you are asking if I'm watching UFC, I think. Um, Maximo, Ilya Tuporia can defeat John Jones. Come on, man. Maybe if they were the same size, who knows? Anyway, let me go to the next fight, guys. I love and appreciate all of you. Until then, deuces.